as I said, this is one of those challenging topics. Well, first off, we can also talk about regulations and how we're trying to avoid regulations and anti-competitive things. They're all lumped together in a big muddle, which I think the challenge. We at Human believe, and from a regulatory perspective, like we are not part of that same conversation of we're not targeting you, we're literally trying to find fraud here. So it's a little bit different in that we have legitimate reasons for being in here from a cybersecurity perspective. Now, that being said, it gets a little bit convoluted when people just hear that you're ad tech or whatever, and now everyone's a bad guy. I think going back to our reputation and trust, we need to do much better, and I'm not being prescriptive of how, explaining what the value is to that individual. So there's the folks who believe that any form of personalization or whatever is somehow naturally evil and anathema, and that you should blindly be able to everyone should see the same ads no matter who they are, right? Like, I don't necessarily entirely agree with that, because I think that's missing a whole lot of the nuance of, making sure that I'm not seeing, ads are not relevant to me is just as valuable to me as a consumer as somebody trying that. Now, we can talk about that all day. I know there'll be philosophical differences. My concern, though, is with some of these controls, that nuance isn't actually presented to an end consumer of being able to opt into that. They're not seeing the benefits of opting into these things. And there's also not this notion of, if you don't opt into these things, here's what you're missing out on. So, and I'm not going to make this like a doomsday thing. If you don't opt into being tracked, which is a horrible word, let's change track to being targeted. It means that you're missing out on not just the benefits, but also some of the protections that, if we don't know who you are because somebody's misinterpreted what, folks like Human and other players in this industry are also protecting those end devices from things like malware and advertising, et cetera. So it's way too nuanced to put in a checkbox, is all I'm going to say.